Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Smackdown review. Smackdown tonight was terrible. In my opinion, it was a terrible show outside of Roman Reigns and the Usos. I mean, what did we get on the show tonight? We had two rematches that we've seen before. We had Liv Morgan versus Carmella. Saw that last week. And once again, Nakamura versus Corbin. How many times are we going to see this? These guys are fighting over a stupid fucking crown. Just absolutely fucking terrible. They are going the same route as Monday Night Raw, outside of Roman Reigns and the Usos. Like I said, if this show didn't have Roman Reigns and the Usos behind them, if it wasn't for Roman Reigns, this show would be just as bad as Monday Night Raw. But overall, SmackDown was a terrible show. But let's get right into the review. So, SmackDown opened up tonight, and we saw Roman Reigns. Reigns was staring at Jey Uso. Reigns ended up saying that he saved the Usos last week, and that the Usos owe him. Reigns ended up saying that one thing he will not stand for is, and then Jey interrupts him and says, embarrassing the family. So then we had Jimmy end up coming out. So Jimmy got on the mic, ended up saying that last week was supposed to be a celebration, and that him and Jey were supposed to be here as two-time SmackDown Tag Team Champions, but they end up getting robbed. So Jimmy ended up saying that he's not here to make excuses, and that he's spitting facts. He ended up going on to say that first the referee made a bad call, but that was cool, because they got round two to redeem themselves, which I don't know why they had to book the same match later on in the night last week. So, he kept saying that they were doing what they do. And that the head of the table, Roman Reigns, ended up putting his nose in their business. So Jimmy wanted to say that Roman just had to make it about himself, and that he couldn't let them have their time. So Jimmy ended up saying that he feels like Roman got him and Jey disqualified on purpose. So then we had Reigns, Jey Uso, and Paul Heyman watching backstage. And Jimmy ended up asking Reigns what the point was of attacking Rey and Dominic. Jimmy ended up saying that he thought about it, and that the issue is that Roman is jealous of him, and jealous that he wants his brother with him. Jealous because they want to represent the family and hold gold, just like Roman. Jimmy ended up saying that he sees right through Roman with all those mind games, and he's just trying to tear Jey away from him. So Jimmy ended up saying that he is his brother's keeper, not Roman's. So Reigns was just staring at Jey in the back. Jimmy ended up promising that he's going to do something that he won't regret. So Jimmy ended up dropping the mic, got out of the ring, and then we saw Reigns backstage. He was telling Jey that he better take care of this. So Jey ended up walking away, and that was that. Overall, this was a okay segment to open SmackDown tonight. So then SmackDown went to commercial. Then when SmackDown came back, we saw Jey Uso. He ended up approaching Jimmy, ended up asking him what was up with the comments that he made. Jey ended up agreeing that they could have won the titles last week. So Jimmy ended up saying that it can't be like this anymore. He wanted to say that Roman is disgracing their family. So Jey ended up yelling back at Jimmy, and he was asking him what to do. He was pointing to how Jimmy was out for a whole year and his expenses weren't cheap. So Jey ended up asking what Jimmy wants him to do. So Jimmy ended up telling Jay if Reigns wants to see him, he will be in their locker room. So Jimmy ended up walking off. And this is all going to lead to Jimmy versus Jay at Hell in a Cell. You could tell that they're going to be going this route where it's going to be both the Usos going at it at Hell in a Cell. So then we had Kevin Owens and Big E versus Sami Zayn and Apollo Crews. And the match was okay, in my opinion. I mean, we're seeing Big E and Apollo Crews go at it again in this match. I mean, they didn't even explain why Big E was out when Aleister Black ended up delivering the Black Mass to him. So there was no explanation as to why Big E was out. So the match ended up starting off with Kevin Owens and Apollo Crews. Kevin Owens ended up running and knocking Sami Zayn off the apron, and then he went to work on Apollo Crews. Owens ended up delivering an elbow to Crews, ran out to the floor, ended up beating Sami Zayn up against the barricade. Kevin Owens then launched Sami Zayn into the barricade, ran back into the ring. Apollo Crews came in and delivered a boot, but Kevin Owens ended up coming back and dropped Apollo with a senton. Kevin Owens ended up rocking Sami Zayn off the apron again, sending Sami Zayn back into the barricade. Kevin Owens ended up running right back into the ring. Apollo Crews kept Kevin Owens down, started stomping away on him. Apollo Crews ended up beating Kevin Owens into the corner, and Sami Zayn ended up coming in. Sami Zayn started unloading on Kevin Owens in the corner, started beating him down. So Sami ended up standing on Kevin Owens' face. The referee was warning Sami Zayn. Apollo Crews ended up coming back in and delivered a suplex to Kevin Owens, went for the cover, which Owens kicked out at 1. Crews ended up taking it back to the corner, and Sami Zayn ended up coming in. Kevin Owens ended up fighting Sami out of the corner. Apollo Crews ended up tagging back in. Apollo Crews ended up dropping Kevin Owens while Sami Zayn was holding him. Kevin Owens ended up fighting Apollo Crews and ducked, and then he ducked, and then he tagged in Big E. Big E came in, started delivering a overhead throw to Apollo Crews, took out Sami Zayn, and Big E was just throwing more overhead throws to Apollo Crews in the middle of the ring. Big E then ran the ropes and delivered a splash, but Apollo Crews ended up getting his knees up. So Apollo Crews ended up charging into the corner. Big E ended up catching him and delivered a Uranagi. Went for the cover, which Apollo Crews ended up kicking out at 2. Crews then ended up blocking the big ending with an enziguri. And Crews ended up delivering a German suplex to Kevin Owens. So at the end of the match, we had Kevin Owens end up dodging a haluva kick from Sami Zayn. He ended up dropping Sami Zayn with the stunner. There you go. Kevin Owens and Big E ended up winning the match. Post-match, Commander Aziz, who was out there at ringside, Commander Aziz was checking on Apollo Crews, and Sami Zayn ended up joining Apollo Crews at ringside. Crews ended up bringing his title in the ring, and because Commander Aziz ended up giving Apollo Crews the Intercontinental Championship and a microphone. So Apollo Crews ended up getting in the ring, and he got on the mic, and he ended up asking, why is Kevin Owens and Big E celebrating? And Apollo Crews ended up saying that both guys didn't beat him, and they only won because he was paired with this idiot. He was referring to Sami Zayn. So Apollo Crews then challenged Big E and Kevin Owens to another match next week against him and Commander Aziz. So next week it's going to be Commander Aziz's in-ring debut on SmackDown. So Big E and Kevin Owens end up accepting the challenge. Sami Zayn gets on the mic, starts talking trash to Apollo Crews. Sami Zayn ended up calling Apollo Crews a fraud, and that he accused him of being set up. So Sami Zayn ended up saying that Apollo Crews owes him an apology. So Commander Aziz ends up delivering the Nigerian nail to Sami Zayn. So Apollo Crews ended up kneeling down, started taunting Sami Zayn, and that was that. But overall, it was an okay match, okay tag team match. So then we saw the Street Profits backstage. Chad Gable ended up walking up to them, and Chad Gable ended up telling the Profits that he is here to apologize for Otis attacking them last week. He kept saying that he thought Chad Gable wanted an apology, but he didn't. And Otis is overprotective of him at times. Chad Gable went on to say that as a grand gesture, he got their tag team match off tonight. So the Profits weren't happy about that because it was supposed to be Otis and Chad Gable versus the Profits. So they end up knowing that Chad Gable can't control Otis, but they can, and they will take care of him if he crosses the line again. So the Profits end up joking around, and Chad Gable end up saying that this is their problem, always joking around. So Chad Gable end up saying that now they've gotten themselves back into a match. So the Profits end up agreeing that Montez Ford can take the match against Chad Gable. Chad Gable ended up saying that he won't even have Otis at ringside, only if Angelo Dawkins agrees to stay backstage. So they agree. Chad Gable ended up saying that Otis is still angry. So yeah, we still got to buy Otis as a heel. Otis doesn't come off as a good heel, in my opinion. So then we had Jey Uso. Jey Uso ended up approaching Roman Reigns in the back. Reigns ended up asking where Jimmy is. Jey ended up saying that Jimmy is out there, mad, angry talking, and that he doesn't know where he is. So Reigns then ended up asking again, where is he? Jey ended up saying that Jimmy told him that if Reigns wants to see him, he has to go to their locker room. So Reigns ended up smirking. He ended up asking if they have a locker room now. He ended up asking why Jimmy is doing this to Jey, putting him in the middle and making him the bad guy. So Reigns kept on laughing at the idea of the Usos having their locker room. He ended up asking if he's sure it's not Roman's cousin's locker room. So Reigns ended up telling Jey to go tell Jimmy that he's coming. So that. Then we had Carmella versus Liv Morgan, which this was just meh, in my opinion. It was the same match that we saw last week. You know, Carmella got the win last week. So we had Carmella come out. Greg Hamilton ends up saying, oh, she is the most beautiful woman in WWE. So Carmella came out first and then Liv Morgan. Match got underway. Liv Morgan ended up attacking Carmella right as the bell rang. Started delivering some right hands. She ended up stopping on Carmella in the corner. So Carmella ended up throwing Liv Morgan into the barricade on the outside. Carmella then looked at Michael Cole. And Carmella was like, oh, tell everyone how beautiful I am. How I am the most beautiful woman in WWE. So she ended up grabbing Liv Morgan, started throwing her back into the ring. Carmella ended up going for the cover, but Liv Morgan ended up kicking out. So Liv ended up hitting Carmella with the Oblivion, went for the cover. There you go, Liv Morgan ended up winning the match. So Carmella won last week, and now Liv Morgan got the win this week. Are we going to have another rematch next week? So post-match, Carmella then whispered to Greg Hamilton something, and Greg Hamilton was like, still the most beautiful woman in WWE, Carmella. And that was that. Overall, meh match. So then we had Ding Dong Hello with Bayley. So Bayley was in the ring. She had the door in the middle of the ring. There was pictures of her. There's a plant. So Bayley ended up welcoming everyone to Ding Dong Hello. So she ended up saying that Seth Rollins is a Grand Slam champion, like herself, and that he is the drip god, Seth Rollins. Drip god? So Seth Rollins ended up came out in a nice white and purple suit. He made his way into the ring. He ended up ringing the doorbell. So he opens the door, and Bayley ends up saying, "Right on time." Bayley ended up telling Seth to sit on the chair, and Seth ends up telling Bayley that he loves what she has done with the set. So Bayley then told Seth Rollins if he needs something to drink to ask Michael Cole. So Bayley ended up thanking Seth Rollins for using the door, and he says that's what it is there for. Seth Rollins ended up thanking Bayley for having him on a proper show and doing a proper interview, and that he is a huge fan. Seth Rollins ended up saying that Bayley has been on fire, the next level. So he ended up saying what she has done with Bianca, putting her in a place time and time again. So Seth ended up asking Bayley what it is with kids these days, the lack of respect. Seth ended up saying he has no doubt that at Hell in a Cell, she will mop the floor with Bianca. But he has to know last week that there's a clip that he wants to watch, and it was a masterclass in mind games. So they ended up playing the clip with Bianca in the ring, and Bayley's face was all over the Thunderdome LED boards, just laughing. So as that was shown, just Bayley and Seth Rollins were just laughing together. So Bayley ended up saying that if he thought that was funny, to wait until he sees this. So then we saw a clip of Seth Rollins attacking Cesaro 3 weeks ago. So we saw that clip, and then after, both Bayley and Seth Rollins started laughing at each other. So we had the doorbell end up ringing. And they asked, who is it? Seth ended up saying that this is her show, and that she has done so much, and that he will be a gentleman and get the door. So Seth ended up opening the door, and it was Cesaro. So Cesaro delivered a right hand to Seth Rollins, knocking him down. He ends up throwing Seth Rollins onto the chair, and Seth Rollins' pants end up ripping, and Pat McAfee was selling the hell out of this, where Cesaro was just throwing around Seth Rollins. Cesaro ended up throwing Seth through the Ding Dong Hello door and out to the outside, which Bayley was just shocked at what was going on. So Seth then ran to the back. Bayley ended up coming in. She tried to put the door back up. And then Bianca Belair ended up coming out. Bianca Belair came out. She stood on the stage. And she was looking at Bayley. And Bianca just started laughing. Just like how Bayley does. So, there you go. That was that. But overall, this segment I kind of enjoyed. Cesaro coming back, end up attacking Seth Rollins. Pat McAfee end up selling the segment. But Pat McAfee selling the segment on commentary just made it even better, in my opinion. So then we had Megan Moran. Megan Moran was backstage with REY Mysterio. Megan ended up asking Rey for an update on Dominic. Rey ended up telling Morant that Dominic is hurt and that Roman hurt him. Rey went on to say that he doesn't care who you are or how big you might be. If you go after Dominic, he will go after you. Rey will go after you. So he ended up saying last week he failed in protecting Dominic, but his injuries weren't a freak accident. He ended up saying that his injuries were caused by a man who claims to be all about family, a man who won't think twice about destroying his own. So Rey ended up saying that Roman can do what he wants with his family, but not with his. He ended up saying by the end of the night, he will be out in the ring, and he will call Roman out. And if he dares to show up, he will show him what a family is supposed to look like. So, that. Then we had Montez Ford versus Chad Gable, which this was just a very meh match here. So, match started with both Ford and Gable. They were exchanging reversals. So, Chad Gable ended up blocking a submission on Ford. Ford got back up to his feet and got out of the submission, delivered an arm drag by Ford to Chad Gable. Gable ended up getting out of it, and Chad Gable started throwing right hands, and Ford ended up doing another arm drag. So Ford ended up going for a crossbody, but Gable ended up ducking it. He ended up getting the ankle lock on Montez Ford in the middle of the ring. Ford ended up reversing the ankle lock into a cover, but Chad Gable ended up kicking out. So Dawkins was backstage. He was watching the match, and Otis ended up attacking him from behind. So Otis ended up throwing Dawkins into backstage equipment. And then Otis ended up coming out. He ended up throwing Montez Ford to the outside of the ring. And the match ended in a disqualification. So Montez Ford ended up winning. So Otis ended up throwing Ford into the ring steps. Otis then delivered a splash off the second rope in the ring onto Ford. Dawkins ended up coming into the ring. Otis then ended up throwing Dawkins to the outside. So Otis delivered another splash onto Montez Ford. And we had officials end up running into the ring to break it up. So that was that. Overall, just meh match. And then we went to Nakamura versus Corbin once again. Nothing new here. How many times have we seen this match? These guys are fighting over a fucking crown. So Rick Boogs was out there, of course, playing the guitar. And to distract Corbin, Nakamura ended up attacking Corbin. So same shit. Nakamura ended up getting the win, where Nakamura ended up rolling up Corbin. So there you go. Nakamura wins. Overall, same shit match. Post-match, Corbin ended up attacking Nakamura from behind. And Corbin ended up running to the outside to try and grab the crown. He ended up knocking Rick Boogs down. Nakamura then grabbed the crown from Corbin's hand. And Boogs ended up throwing Corbin over the announce table. It's the same shit. You know, either Nakamura, Corbin wins. Corbin ends up going for the crown. Boogs ends up, distracting Corbin. And Nakamura takes back the crown. These guys are fighting over a fucking crown. Awful. So then we had Roman Reigns backstage with Jay. And Roman ended up telling him that he is ready and to go to their locker room, the Usos' locker room. So that was that. And then we had Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville backstage. Corbin ended up coming in. Corbin ended up telling them that this is disrespect and that he is ordering them to demand Nakamura to give him back his crown. So both Sonya and Adam Pearce were laughing. Sonya ended up saying that instead of Nakamura giving his crown back, he can put it on the line in a match. So once again, next week we're going to begin Nakamura and Corbin, where the crown is on the line. Really? The winner of the match gets the fucking crown. Oh my god. Another rematch with Nakamura and Corbin we got to endure next week. Oh, how excited I am. Not really. And just we all thought that WWE was going to bring back the King of the Ring. Obviously they're not. Now after this. We got to endure another Nakamura-Corbin match. With a fucking crown on the line. So we saw Jimmy Uso backstage. Roman and Jay end up coming in. Roman ended up telling Jimmy to look at the championship. At the Universal Championship. Jimmy ended up saying that he doesn't care about the Universal Championship. He cares about them both. He ended up saying that the truth is that Roman has been doing this since they were kids. Trying to work the system. And he ended up saying that he saw him abuse Jay like it was nothing. And that it hurt him. He ended up saying that he doesn't want Roman's place one day. And that Roman will be in the Hall of Fame. But he won't be inducted as Roman. He will be inducted as a spoiled bitch. So Roman then looked at Jay, ended up telling him if he has seen what Jimmy is doing. So both Roman and Jimmy were arguing. Jay ended up telling the both of them to chill out. He ended up saying that he is tired of this, and that he's tired of them both. And Jay ended up leaving the locker room. Jimmy ended up blaming Roman for all this. Roman ended up saying that he doesn't want to fight him. He asks Jimmy what he has done, and that they aren't little kids anymore, and that this is a family business. Roman ended up saying that this is how they make their decisions, and that it represents their family. So Roman then ended up asking Jimmy why he would do this with Jay. Reigns ended up saying that they are twins, but Jimmy came out first, because he is the older one. He said that he should be protecting Jay. Roman then went on to say that he should be dependent on Jimmy, and that it should be all of them, and that they have to stick together and be the best. Roman ended up asking why he would do that to Jay, why and how he could treat his brother like that. Roman ended up saying that Jay elevated himself all year, and Jimmy just let him go. And Roman ended up telling him not to do this to Jay. He says this is their family. So Jimmy ended up leaving the room, and that was that. So then we have Rey Mysterio end up coming out. Rey Mysterio comes out to call out Roman to the ring. So Rey ended up calling him out, ended up calling Roman out. So Roman ended up coming out alongside Paul Heyman. Rey ended up saying that he acknowledges Roman. And that's what Roman wanted to hear. Rey ended up saying that he acknowledges Roman for the rat bastard that he is. He also acknowledges him as the rat bastard that put his hands on his son, Dominic. He acknowledges him as a man that he is willing to fight, even if he loses the fight. And he also acknowledges him as a man he wants to fight inside hell in a cell. So Rey ended up saying that now he has laid out his challenge. It's Roman's turn to acknowledge. So Rey ended up dropping the mic. Roman ended up laughing. Paul Heyman then ended up handing Roman another microphone. Roman ended up acknowledging Rey as a father. So Rey then ended up hitting Roman with a kendo stick. And Roman then threw Rey to the outside. Rey ended up getting back into the ring, and Roman delivered a Superman punch. He tried to go for the spear, but Dominic ended up hitting Roman with the kendo stick. So Roman grabbed Dominic, and this was crazy right here. Roman grabbed Dominic, and he delivered a powerbomb. He powerbombed Dominic over the top rope to the outside. And that was crazy right there. So Dominic was on his back, lying there in pain. Rey then ended up hitting Roman from behind with the kendo stick. Rey then went out to check on Dominic, but Roman ended up knocking him down as officials ended up running down to the ring. And that was that. Well, overall, this segment was pretty decent here. So that was how SmackDown ended tonight. But overall, terrible show in my opinion. So we had a rematch, Liv Morgan versus Carmella. We had Nakamura versus Corbin once again. Now we're going to be seeing that next week. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Liv Morgan versus Carmella again next week. But anyways, that's it for the SmackDown review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all tomorrow night. Well, not tomorrow night. Later on today, because it's already Saturday as I am doing this review. It's already early Saturday morning, 1:44 in the morning. So I'll see you all later today for the Dynamite review. So until then, see you all later.